today we are at Christie's International Real Estate and at Properties. And my guest is Thad Wong. And Thad, you are the co-CEO and co-founder
Yes.
of at Properties. So let's talk a little bit about your success story and how you started. And just a few words about, let's go back when you were 7.
When I was 7. A lot of people find it interesting that both of my parents are PhD psychologists. And I'm an only child, and they were divorced. And so, people always think there was over analysis of my childhood, which there really wasn't. There was a tremendous amount of love, an exceptional amount of acceptance and encouragement. And I guess it was a different household when you have psychologists as parents, because if they say, "How are you?" you don't get away with just answering fine and going into your room. There's always a deeper question, the second, third question. So I think as I grew up with having those types of parents, I grew up with a better understanding of how to communicate and develop closeness with people through learning and listening and asking more detailed questions, probably through them for sure.
And I understand you have 4 children.
Yeah.
So you share the same direction with your kids?
I do. Yeah. It's almost a carbon copy. I lost my dad, who was my best friend in 18. But the two of us were really close, more as friends, because I grew up with my mom. And my mom is a traditional mom, but I rely on her for, work ethic. She instilled love and a lot of those things. And then I had a different relationship with my dad. And so with my kids, it's a little bit of the combo. I'm the hands-on parent, but I'm also the close friend and confidant. So so far it's worked out pretty well.
Well, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, and it's great that you have such wonderful relationship with your kids, and they want to come home, they want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
So that's, you are doing something right.
I hope so. Yeah, it's a very, very close-knit group.
What about your career? How did you start at Properties?
So in 2000, my partner, Mike Golden and I, which we were really one of the first teams in America, we were the #1 agent. And we felt that, the company we worked for, which is a very small company, we felt like we worked for that company as opposed to the company working for us. So we thought if we flipped it and we did a 180 and we said, okay, if we know how we sell, we're a large team. We have a lot of agents. We have a lot of projects. We have resale, development. If we build an organization that services us, that services agents, it'll be much more attractive for agents. And if we build a culture around that first, and then sprinkle our personalities and our own philosophy into that culture, that we can build something, one, that's a magnet for agents that want to belong to, and number 2, provides better tools and resources for the agent to distribute to the consumer, giving the consumer experience significantly better than what would be our competition in Chicago.
And you just mentioned culture. I think it is so important because if I were an agent, that's the first thing I would be looking for, is for the right culture for me.
Yeah.
And for me to feel comfortable. And yes, the company is working for me and cares about me as an agent and the final consumer, my clients, right?
Yes, that's a big deal. And I think there's lots of components to culture, and I think every company defines themselves in a different way. I think our advantage was that we sold at high volume. So the piece of understanding the end consumer and what the agent really needed was very, very clear for us. That was a given. And then the other side of it was, what's the environment? What's the relationship? Our #1 core value is everything is relationship. So what's the relationship we want to have with our agents? What's the relationship that we want those agents to have with our staff and our management? And what's the relationship that we want to convey that we hopefully distributes down to the end consumer to build a longer lasting bond?
That I certainly enjoy hearing that, because that is so important. And sometimes we hear, my brokerage is so agent-centric, but it's really, if you really care about the agent, you should really care about the final consumer and how they keep the relationship, because that is their business and they are CEO of their own business, but you help them to be that CEO.
Yeah, I think you've seen both, right? You've seen the companies where we went through a period of time where, it being all about the agent doesn't mean that you have to give all of everything financially to the agent, because then you have no resources to provide to the end consumer. And so what we saw in the downturn over the last year was that those companies really had to make a lot of cuts and had to reverse course on a lot of things because we had this inflated market in 2021 that was, kind of unrealistic, a COVID injection. So,
COVID injection.
but I think when you
That's the first time I hear that. I love it.
Yeah,
COVID injection.
yes, and so but when if you build a profitable company that's done responsibly, where the agents get a strong benefit, the lion's share of the commission, which they deserve and they are owed because they're really handling a significant portion of the deal, but there's enough revenue to still be able to provide the best technology, marketing, training and coaching, culture, physical space, collateral material, those things, that still is so crucially important to the end consumer that's distributed by the agent. So you have to be able to do it all.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. The platform alone is a fortune, but you can't really survive without it. The CRM, that is the investment that helps, that you are creating to help the final consumer in the long run. What about Christie's International? So you bought Christie's about 18 months ago.
Yep.
Why did you decide to go with that brand? Well, obviously it is a classy brand, but
so we built the brand, and I remember how hard it was to do that. When we started in 2000 with @properties, people didn't know. First of all, when you called directory assistance and asked for our phone number, you didn't know how to start it because the @sign, so it was very difficult. So we knew how hard it was to build a brand because we built the #1 brand in Chicago and Illinois. We also became #1 in luxury, and it took a very, very, very long time as an independent operator. Now, brand is everything in the essence that everything you buy that has a brand, you pay more for, period. Full stop. When someone is looking for a car, they often think about the brand. If they're looking at a watch, if they're looking at a shirt, whatever you buy, if something has a brand, it has greater extrinsic value, that non-quantifiable value. So if you're going to sell one of the greatest and most expensive assets, a home, you should probably wrap it in the best brand, right? And so an agent has a brand, but also the agent works with a company and that company has a brand. So if you see Christie's International Real Estate in front of anything, whether it is a 1-bedroom condo or a 17-bedroom house in Bel Air, it means exclusivity, it means luxury, it means expensive. So if anything, from a brand perspective, you can walk anywhere in the world and Christie's has one of the best, if not the best, luxury brands out there. So if we're going to wrap our technology, our training and coaching systems, our marketing, and our expertise in fundamental building of successful real estate practices, we're going to wrap it in the best brand out there so agents can wrap themselves in that brand and in essence then have more extrinsic value for the end consumer, a level of confidence that goes beyond all the things that we provide.
Yeah, a level of confidence. I like how the way you said that, because when your agent is meeting a seller or they have a 1-minute elevator pitch and they say that they're from Christie's Real Estate, you don't have to ask any questions.
Right.
That is so clear.
Yes.
And you don't have to explain what you will be delivering because what's behind the brand is that strength.
Yeah, I think probably the greatest thing that I underestimated, in working with all of our agents to build @properties into being the #1 position and the #1 in luxury, I highly underestimated the value of the brand when we bought Christie's. I looked at our physical locations around the globe. I looked at the existing affiliates in Europe and North America, and I looked at our ability and opportunity to inject technology and marketing and training and coaching to make them all better and to grow. But what I underestimated is just the value of that brand. People who have used that brand to perfection have experienced incredible success without many other tools. So now if we can give them a far stronger platform with technology, marketing, and training, they have everything. They have the greatest brand, they have the greatest technology, the greatest marketing, the greatest training, and then we'll together create the greatest culture.
What about franchise? So now you spread the word, and you are all over the world actually, but you also have your @properties, like in Naples, for example.
Yeah.
And can we talk about that?
So in Naples, that's John R. Wood. That was
Yes.
the #1 company in Naples. And after acquiring Christie's, we connected, and they have the #1 competitor in Naples is Sotheby's.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sell about $500 million more, but their average sales price was a little bit less. So they felt that if partnering with us, they'd get a number of things. One, they can be John R. Wood, Christie's International Real
Mm-hmm.
Estate. They can be more competitive from the luxury sector and recruit more agents. Number two, they were a lot like other large-scale brokerages. I think their gross commission was a little over $100 million at the time, and they had a number of different technology tools that they were using they had put together for their agents. So they saw our platform built from scratch, and that's a soup to nuts pre-contract, post-closing system that's a single sign-on that has a digital listing presentation, digital CMA, all that's integrated into the CRM, open house tool, and they get that with the Christie's International Real Estate brand. So for them, it was a no-brainer. We can keep our independence, attach Christie's to our brand, have the technology that At Properties has built, plug into their training and coaching that has built them in the Chicagoland area, and have the best marketing, both collateral and digital, so they can continue to dominate the Naples market. So that was a great example of one of our first affiliates.
And what about At Properties itself? So do you have At Properties outside of Illinois?
We do. So we have our own company-owned At Properties that are servicing second home markets in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, Indiana, and we have standalone franchisees of At Properties from Detroit to Indianapolis to Dallas to soon launch in Austin to La Crosse to Madison. Some of them have the Christie's brand. So in Detroit, for instance, that's At Properties Christie's. In Dallas and Austin will be At Properties Christie's. Madison is also incorporated with the Christie's, and some are just standalone At Properties.
Oh, I see. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, but why would you divide them? Why wouldn't you have everything under one roof so they feel stronger?
So in some cases, we started franchising at before. So we had existing ads. And so in some of those markets, it made sense to bring the Christie's to that market. In other markets, it didn't make much sense.
And what about the technology? We keep going around the technology and your platform, which you invested a lot of energy and I'm sure money. So how do you evolve in this technology? How do you encourage your agents to use it? Because you can invest as much money as you want, but if they're not using it, it's no good.
Yeah, I learned from a lot of our competitors on adoption. And because we build all of our tech in-house, we got really lucky. We hired our first engineer, I think, in 2005 and started the beginning of Platform. So Platform wasn't something that was just thought of 5 years ago. It was something that's been being built for the last 18 years. And we hired our first engineer to help with the integration of different software tools. So it was from the inception. So it's a part of our history and culture and has all been built within the profitability of the organization. So it started from just patchworking tools together like a lot of brokerages still do today to what is considered the best technology platform on the market. So for us, it's just been a part of our culture is being at the forefront of technology, not necessarily the first in launching the tool, but being able to launch a integration of a tool that is much smarter, that generates the greatest amount of adoption. And you can learn a lot by seeing people throw a lot of things at the wall, what sticks, what gets good, what's desirable from the end consumer, but most importantly, what's in demand from the agent. And that's what we focus on building.
So do you educate your agents? Let's say you get brand new agent on board, and what's the onboarding process? Do you make them take certain classes? You encourage their coaching? How does
our platform is super intuitive. Mm-hmm. We learned a lot from Apple, right? In Apple, when you give somebody a phone, especially a child, they know exactly what to do. It's intuitive. Same with our platform, which is platform with the @ sign. When you go through it, it pulls up a little video, but it's very intuitive to get it going. So if you're an agent and you've done deals in the past and you get on platform, it is very, very easy. You can plug and click and watch a quick video, but it is not like working and learning a new language. It's relatively intuitive because we are a real estate brokerage first and we built it. So we built it for agents with agents. So all of our tools, our agents go through, give us feedback, show us what to do, what not to do. We know what they want because we were agents and we're very much in tune with the brokerage side of the business. So it's relatively easy to transition on. I would say that to become a master of any sort of tech, it might take a month, but it's relatively easy. You don't really get stumped. Like you never see somebody with an iPhone that just doesn't know where to go next because you just click back a screen and kind of continue to go and it takes you on. Same thing with platform.
Well, that's great. And do you believe in coaching? Like, do you encourage your agents to participate with, I don't know, Tom Ferry, Buffini, or do you have something in-house?
I encourage every type of coaching. I think that with coaching, it just requires one thing, consistency. And if you commit consistency, they're all great. We do have our own training and coaching team. So we've got Amy Core runs that division, and we have a number of coaches underneath her. And we wrote curriculum, a lot of it, which came from the Great Recession. We have one course called Getting What You're Worth, which really empowers the agents so they can articulate their value proposition. The effort is to have them charge more than the market, because if they're worth more than the market, they don't need to discount their commissions. And we have a perfect listing presentation that goes through all the different tools we have: physical collateral, digital, etc., search, to keep holding on to buyers, which is especially important right now, but also to provide that experience for sellers when they're going to sell, to have everything from soup to nuts, from the first introduction all the way to the closing.
Interesting. No, I think I personally, I support coaching. For me, it's consistency is important. For me, focus.
Yeah.
That's what I have lack of focus.
Yeah. And motivation. I've had a partner for a number of years. And so, getting motivation is easy, because when you have a great relationship, you want to perform for your partner, in all facets. And so we have very different responsibilities, but a lot of time the success that we have, it's fun to be able to share that success with somebody else.
If I were to ask you, what's the 3 items that you would say, that you would ask the agent, why do they want to be part of at Properties?
If I were to ask an agent that's here, what do I think? Number one, I think culture. That is a word that's been overly used over the last decade. Every conference you go to talks about culture. Culture has been important to us since day one. And what is culture? Culture is my personal relationship with you, and now that evolves with others to create an environment based on the values that we align ourselves with. So I do feel, and what's the greatest challenge? Growing an organization and maintaining that culture, because it's maintaining that closeness with humanity, with the human relationship while you grow. And that's very difficult because of time. So I think we've done a very, very good job of that. I think people understand. And it's the love logo. You saw it when you pulled up to the building. It's, whatever this is, 100 feet tall by 80 feet long. I mean, we, expel love wherever we go. That's the foundation of the organization. So number one would be culture and relationships. Number two, I do believe it would be marketing, even before technology, because marketing incorporates brand, and things that people see first are on the outside. So whether it's a sign in front of a yard, whether it's a physical brochure, whether it's a listing presentation, it's how you display what you are. And then I would say third is technology, because technology is the heartbeat. Technology is how we get our processes going, how we maintain efficiency, how we scale. Even scaling culture is done with technology. So technology is arguably the most important part of the being, right? The heart that makes it go through. Marketing is your skin, your clothing, how you present yourself. Do you look good? You look great in Chanel, right? And then culture is our personality.
Anyone looks great in Chanel.
Are we smiling? Are we laughing? Are we hugging? Are we loving? Are we supporting? Are we picking up? Are we giving? Are we sharing? How do we feel about those we don't know? Are we embracing our differences? Are we loving? And that is the epitome of what is the perfect organization. No organization is perfect by any means, but if you're going to say that's as good as it can possibly be, those 3 components in that light, I think would be what we should all strive for.
Oh, that's beautifully said.
Oh, thanks.
And what about, let's talk about the technology. So I'm part of Matterport, and it's all about technology. And as a matter of fact, like now our purpose in life, if you wish, is to make sure that everyone understands that Matterport is humanized.
Yes.
It really helps people. It's not all about just the technology. It's about the final consumer who lives in California but would like to live in Chicago, and how they can look at the house without flying for 5 hours.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, and how your agents embrace the technology.
Yeah, so technology and video and still shot and the Matterport walkthrough, we have done things, whether it was we were the first company to have an API with Zillow to make sure all of our photographs and everything was there, that was represented perfectly. Now in such a way for the end consumer, the seller, and the end buyer, the better you can present a home to save the time of the seller and to make sure that they have the greatest likelihood of converting that buyer into a homeowner, is how you present the home. And I was just in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, toying with the new Matterport, the new VR headsets, and walking through a home. The way you can do that now and what's coming is fascinating. If you can just have that process with a buyer, you will be able to eliminate, I think, 70% of showings because you can really get the feel of a home. And so that's where it's going. And Matterport really started it. It's the biggest name in doing it. They've created an exceptional product for the end consumer. We use it. And I think that it's only getting significantly better. But I think that buyer, when they walk through, first, when they figure out the location, they figure out the functionality of the home, they can look at some pictures, but then having the ability to walk through and getting a feel for space. Spatial orientation is the hardest thing to convey in a photo. But when you go through a Matterport tour, that's probably the best we've got going right now.
Well, thank you. I'll take it as a compliment.
You should.
Let's talk about your personal involvement in charities and your love for art.
Yeah, my mom, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom was an academic growing up, so she would take Gauguin and fabulous artists and buy the poster, but then get them framed very elegantly. So when we walked through our home, I saw great art, and she would educate me on art. And I just had a passion for art growing up. And my mom also, even though you don't have a lot, you can give a lot. And if it's not financial, it's time. And so, I was raised in such a way to give more than you take, in all facets of life. And so on that side, with the success of AT, which has been very fortunate, I've been able to partner with lots of different organizations in Chicago and beyond, things that are really important to me. The Chicago Children's Museum, Merit School of Music that brings music and culture to areas that otherwise wouldn't have orchestra. So there are Immerman Angels, which sets up cancer patients with those that have survived that same cancer to develop a relationship to give them some strength and hope during that period. We've partnered with everyone from Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs, Joakim Noah, Chance the Rapper. Personally, we have Lynn Sage Cancer Foundation, which is a woman that we lost a number of years ago on the North Shore. Her children have developed a fabulous organization. So I just heavily believe in participating at the highest level and giving back. And so if people are willing to create an organization and operation to do good, and they need resources, and if you either have time, you can give time. If you have less time, you have to give resources. But supporting as many philanthropic efforts, that's what's really needed right now, in my opinion. That side of it in politics, whatever views you have, being involved so you can shape our country in the vision that you see. So I do think there's a lot of people that can sit on the sidelines, but if you can stay engaged, it is far more empowering internally, whether it's through philanthropy or whether it's through leadership and civic service. Those things are crucially important in developing who you are as a person, your own personal character, which is, evolves into what you develop as your culture.
And I totally agree with you. And we also participate as much as we can, like with, for example, Ronald McDonald House. And as a matter of fact, we
have a great one here just east of Michigan. It's fantastic. They just built it about 10 years ago. But it does incredible good in Chicago.
So I'll make sure that we interview them, because what happened in New York, we did the interview and we did the Matterport, and it was during the COVID time when people couldn't really travel that easily. So between the interview and the storytelling and the Matterport, they got 95% occupancy.
Yeah.
And just the understanding and the feeling how many children were able to benefit just because of a Matterport or the story, that was beautiful. And then we also were a big part of Sunshine Kids Foundation, and I personally did interviews with the kids who were survivors, and now they are helping other children, and they actually spend a lot of time at the hospital. I was crying through every interview. It was so emotional, and those children are so strong. You learn from them.
Yeah. Children are amazing. My first middle name is Sunshine, so that's a great.
Oh, really?
That's a great name for a foundation. But yeah, children are amazing gifts to us all. I mean, they are the epitome of strength, and they are the epitome of love. So I love them, all of them.
So Thad, what would you wish to a brand new agent who is entering the real estate landscape, don't know much, but maybe heard about it, or maybe their parents are involved? What would you wish to them?
So I think that you can still see opportunity, right? It is a crowded field. We have a lot more agents that are actually needed, but that doesn't mean that there's never room for someone who is exceptional. So if you really want this and you really know that you can work harder, number one, that you can learn faster and become smarter, and that you really study the relationship side. That's what I would say is the one thing that some new agents don't understand. The best books I read were books on relationships, relationship development, relationship with myself, EQ, those types of things that offer the ability to have a faster connection with people, that side of it. But I would say that as long as they felt that they were willing to put in the effort, there is opportunity, and we are always raising the bar. Even people existing in the industry need to be pushed by the new players that are coming in that want to provide a better service, that want to provide deeper relationships, that want to provide a more exceptional experience to the end consumer.
Well, that is a very good advice, and I agree with you. Especially in real estate, it is a relationship business, so you have to really love what you do, and you have to accept people for what they are. Not all the buyers and sellers are perfect people, no. By far.
And we are not perfect people. So.
And we are not perfect.
So a little bit of empathy goes
exactly,
a long way.
But you have to accept. And you have to build that relationship in order to be successful.
Yes, we all have clients that are different from us. In a lot of ways, agents need to be chameleons. Their job is to service the greater market and provide that irrelevant of, your client. And some of them are great, and most of them develop great relationships with agents, and some of them use service, and maybe that's it. There are always a couple.
That is true. Well, thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Thad. And it was a pleasure to spend time with you. And you have very interesting and beautiful perspective, and the way you look at things and the way you accept things. Yeah, it's a lot to be learned from you. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it too.
All the best to you and to your company, to your partner, and definitely to your agents.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.